All right, let's just get into it about Rugrats, or the Rugrats Reboot. 5 episodes came out on Paramount Plus recently. I forget which day. Doesn't matter. I watched them all. I want to say something about this reboot that I think needs to be said, is that there are 5 episodes. The first one is the longest. A typical episode of the Rugrats Reboot works kind of like the old one. There's like 2 episodes that are about 10 minutes long. That's a normal episode of the Rugrats Reboot as well. The first episode is like 40-some minutes long, and it's a continuous story. It is the worst episode, and it starts off the show. I think it is probably drags down the show. It puts a bad taste in your mouth, and it's not representative of the rest of the show, which actually works pretty well. The problem with the first episode, and it sort of does what a lot of reboots do, is it tries to get on good graces with the fans, which is like fine, and then they sort of just abandon the fans and just hope to get the new fans. But it's almost like I was constantly, while watching that one, going, what are you doing? And then when I watched every other episode, I didn't question. I was like, oh, this is Rugrats. This is like sort of a natural evolution. I sort of look at like Rugrats started as this weirder, like we talked about the pilot last time, where it's like a little weirder, stranger. Peter Chung actually designed them. Stranger, and then they redesigned them, made it a little cleaner, and now we're at CG and it's even more corporate and so forth. And it sort of just like naturally fits into that evolution. Sure, it's more corporate, it's basically the same idea. Whereas all these are like general, like, oh, Tommy's parents hire like someone who's like gonna clean their place of like bad energy and stuff, and of course it's like a scam. This is very cynical about millennial parents, much like it was previously cynical about boomer parents. All those evolutions, like grandpa, instead of being a World War II vet, is a hippie. That's like sort of natural. That's an evolution in a show that I can accept, and it makes sense. Like, I don't want him to still be a World War II vet, things like that. Like, Dee Dee now is a craft business. They give Dee Dee much more character. She's not just a stay-at-home mom. She has her own, like, job. I don't even know what Stu fucking does at this point. That they don't explain that very well. But the first episode, and I'll point out why this is a problem in this one, is the kid, like, the whole kid's plotline isn't really that big of an issue, to be honest with you, although they do open on a Jurassic Park parody, which feels like a little too on the nose, to be honest with you. It's like too much like appealing to millennials. And then there's a part, and it's a small thing, but it really bugged me, where Phil and Lil's mom, Betty, runs a coffee shop, and she literally, like, right after this Jurassic Park thing, she then goes like, hey, I have a coffee for Gen Z. And I was like, did you just... Are you fucking kidding me right now? You're starting this off. She has a coffee for someone who presumably is named Jennifer Zakowski. I don't know, but Jen's like you did that. You really. And then all their parents want to see a band from when they grew up because they're millennials, which is from the late 90s, and the band is called Y2K. I was like, could you have like fucking tried? Could you have just like tried a little bit? Like, could you have named them like the Funky Butts or 468? I don't know, just like some dumb late 2000s punk name, but Y2K. Like, it's just like, and it's like something like the Y2K band record is in the theme song. Like, it's obviously gonna, just like the first one really bugged me. And then like even grandpa notices the babies are gone right away, which is very, I know they sometimes did, but like to do that in the first episode just rubbed me the wrong way. It just like really put me on a bad step with that whole show. I was just like very much ruined by that first, and it's really long. It's like 3 times as long. It doesn't have a point to it. It's just like making all these dumb fucking assumptions. But then everything else about it much works like the Muppet Babies thing, where it's like Muppet Babies, like the new reboot, works fine. It's a big hit. It appeals to younger kids now. Kids love it. Everything like that. And it works like in a self-contained thing. In fact, Sophie and I were watching older Rugrats because Nicktoons channel had a Rugrats marathon, and she saw the new ads and she wanted to watch it. And I think kids will like it. I don't think kids necessarily like CG stuff because look at how big Bluey is, Hilda. Like, there's plenty of examples of traditionally animated things that are huge hits with kids right now. So I don't really buy that, but that's what they want to do it. But it just plays like regular Rugrats episodes. To be honest with you, they've aged it, made it more contemporary. I like the designs. The thing with the glasses is interesting because anyone wears glasses, it looks like their eyes are on the glasses, not on the characters, which I kind of like that. But it just looks like kind of newer CG designs of everyone. The voices of the parents, like some of them, like Drew, that voice, who that couple are both from Veep. Angelica's mom is now voiced by the girl from My Girl, who was then in Veep, and another Veep co-star is Drew, and that voice actor is like really bad, actually. Everyone else is fine. I like them for the most part. It just feels like, you know, like there's one where Angelica has a doll made of herself. That one felt like a regular Rugrats. There was one where like they go to Angelica's house because they're all getting fumigated. Like there are all sorts of stuff like that. They're like playing video games a lot. This door stopper thing. I generally was fine with the show. It just felt like, you know, more for kids, a regular kid show nowadays. I didn't love it. Like same with the Muppet Babies. I'm like, this is on par with like a good, decent kid show. It's not sort of my thing. It's not made for me, and I was fine with that. What's hilarious is the episode that was made for me, I fucking hated. Like the episode that specifically was to target me, I did not like. I do like that they're cynical about millennial parents. I do like that they're cynical about the stuff that fits in. Like they were cynical about boomer parents. That should be there. I like that it got the tone. The babies' voices, they do, like the thing with voice acting is like, look, they sounded like babies. I understand it's a cartoon. They don't actually sound like babies, but they had these baby voices, but they're all older and you can kind of hear it, and it comes out more because Tommy's design looks sort of like an old man now, and it like he does sound older, and it's specifically because they're playing the old cartoons a lot. I just felt like the you can kind of sense it a little bit. I'm not trying to be ageist, but it's just like, you know, look, my voice doesn't sound the same. If you watch a Knockforce cartoon and watch the stream, you'll notice a difference. Your voice ages. You can't do anything about it. I've accepted that in my own life. I don't sound like Cletus the Fetus either. That's what my voice sounded like in college. But it works for what it is. It's doing its job. And when it does its job and appealing to that audience, I think it works great. I do think like Stu should be more develop more. I wouldn't mind as an indie game developer or a Twitch streamer. It doesn't feel like they really fully understand him. Some of the parents I don't think feel fully fleshed out. But most of the updates I agree with. I think they did a decent enough job with it, and I actually do think kids will probably be into it. It's just that first episode was quite a doozy. If I was like the network, I would almost like, can we just like run this after we have like 40 episodes? Here's what I'm gonna say. If you watch Rugrats, the reboot, don't watch the first episode. In fact, watch every one, and then if you like it, then watch the first episode. The first episode is a hindrance, and they really shouldn't have done that. I think that was a huge mistake, and I don't think Rugrats should appeal to me. Rugrats should appeal to my daughter, and I can watch like the countless amount of hours of the original one that we have. So it's just like, if we're gonna do reboots that are to appeal to the new generation, make them do so, and fucking forget about me. My nostalgia's been catered to far too much as it is. So I think if there's anything, I think this works in exactly the way it should, and I honestly would believe this could be the hit that the Muppet Babies thing is. So we'll see what happens to it entirely, but I think they did a decent enough job of updating it, and I'm curious to see where this goes from the beginnings here, which I think it's off to a pretty decent start, except for the actually exact start, which it obviously wasn't.